You are paying a massive, invisible tax on your ego. While the internet feeds you fake crypto dreams, a guy in a stained polo shirt is quietly making millions doing the dirty work you despise. Watch until the end to shatter your financial delusions and unlock absolute freedom. Look around you, because the world is currently putting on a magnificent, highly orchestrated play designed entirely to keep your pockets empty and your ego dangerously inflated. You are sitting there right now, scrolling through a digital wasteland, watching 22-year-olds in Dubai peddling the next crypto pump, pushing artificial intelligence software, or selling drop-shipping courses that promise you will wake up a millionaire while sleeping on a pristine beach. It is a brilliant, intoxicating, and seductive lie. And the most terrifying part of it all is that you are willingly buying into it because it feeds your vanity. You are being robbed blind by the illusion of luxury, trading your future for the mere aesthetic of success. Money Glow Up 02 welcomes you to the exact moment that illusion shatters forever. Before we completely dismantle this glittering trap and reveal where the real power in this world actually lies, I need you to hit that subscribe button to support the channel, giving us the vital motivation to keep exposing the nonsense and bringing you these profound, unfiltered truths. Sit down and listen closely, because we are about to have an intensely uncomfortable conversation about your financial delusions. Let me give you a brutal reality check that will sting. That guy on your feed driving the leased Tesla, draped in designer labels, loudly calling himself a tech founder? He is almost certainly drowning in suffocating debt, losing sleep, and praying for his next round of venture capital just to keep the lights on in his rented apartment. He is a prisoner to his own image. Do you want to know who is actually wealthy? Do you want to know who holds the quiet, unshakable power in your city? It is the 50-year-old man in the faded, paint-stained polo shirt driving a beat-up Ford F-150. He does not have a slick pitch deck. He has never attended a networking mixer in his life. But he owns the commercial cleaning company that scrubs the toilets of every single tech office in your downtown district. Real wealth is completely invisible to the untrained eye. It hides in plain sight, far away from the glamorous and the flashy. It is buried deep in the mundane, in the dirt, the grime, and the relentless daily inconveniences of human existence. Today, we are going to completely obliterate your preconceived notions of success and introduce you to the empire of sweat startups. These are the profoundly boring, unsexy, sweat equity businesses that quietly generate millions of dollars in reliable, indestructible recurring cash flow, while the rest of the world is busy chasing unicorns and imaginary internet coins. You see, you have lazy money sitting in a savings account, slowly bleeding to death from inflation. Or worse, you are paralyzed by lazy energy, wasting your weekends hyper-analyzing crypto charts instead of building tangible equity in the real world. A sweat startup is the absolute antidote to this modern financial sickness. It is a business anchored deeply in the undeniable truths of the universe. Grass will always grow. Pipes will inevitably leak. Trash will always accumulate, and people will forever need their clothes washed. When you build your foundation upon these undeniable, unbreakable human needs, you completely eliminate market risk. But before I hand you the blueprints to these quiet millionaire minting machines, you have to execute a complete ego death. If you are sitting there clutching your college degree, convinced you are simply too educated or too refined to own a business that picks up garbage or unclogs drains, you need to turn away right now. You can hold on to your pride and stay perfectly academically broke. But if you are finally ready to build a real freedom fund, the kind of unshakable wealth that buys you absolute time freedom and the ability to spend without ever checking a price tag, then open your mind. Drop the arrogance, take meticulous notes, and prepare to walk out into the world no longer as a blind consumer, but as a ruthless architect of your own wealth. Having accepted that true wealth is built quietly in the trenches rather than loudly on a stage, we must now examine the psychological chains keeping you bound to the aesthetic of poverty. From the moment you entered the modern education system, you were subtly programmed to crave prestige above all else. You were taught that success looks like a corner office, a crisp suit, and a job title that you can proudly announce at a dinner party to the admiring gasps of your peers. Society has weaponized your desire for social validation, convincing you that it is better to be a broke vice president of marketing at a failing tech startup than a highly profitable owner of a pest control route. This toxic obsession with status is exactly what keeps the middle class trapped in a perpetual cycle of financial anxiety. You are essentially paying a massive invisible tax on your ego, subsidizing your fragile self-image with the cash flow you desperately need to buy your freedom. We need to introduce a concept that will fundamentally change how you view the economy: the dirty work dividend. There is a premium, a literal pile of money left on the table by the masses simply because a task is perceived as unglamorous, physically demanding, or socially invisible. When 99% of the population refuses to touch a specific industry because it does not look good on an Instagram profile, the supply of competent entrepreneurs in that space plummets to zero. What happens when demand is an absolute certainty because people will always need their gutters cleaned and their driveways power washed, but the supply of reliable professionals is non-existent? Pricing power. Unapologetic, ruthless pricing power. You are no longer competing in the overcrowded, blood-red oceans of digital marketing agencies or software development, where thousands of overeducated kids from Ivy League schools are fighting for the exact same scraps. You are stepping into an arena where your only competition is a guy named Dave who rarely answers his phone, shows up 3 hours late, and sends invoices on a ripped piece of notebook paper. The bar for excellence in sweat startups is spectacularly, almost laughably low. You do not need to invent the next microchip or revolutionize global logistics to become a millionaire in this space. You simply need to answer the phone on the second ring, communicate clearly, show up exactly when you promised you would, and do the job without leaving a mess. That is it. That is the grand, elusive secret. In a world where basic competence and reliability have become scarce commodities, basic professionalism in a blue-collar industry feels like absolute magic to a consumer. They will gladly pay a premium, they will tip generously, and they will desperately refer you to every single person in their neighborhood. Your ego tells you that you are meant for greater, more complex things, but your bank account is begging you to realize that complexity is the enemy of execution. True financial liberation requires you to completely detach your self-worth from what you do for a living, recognizing that a dollar earned from a high-margin, boring service spends exactly the same as a dollar earned in a Silicon Valley boardroom. Once you divorce your ego from your income and embrace the mundane, the sheer volume of lucrative, everyday opportunities waiting right outside your front door becomes almost overwhelming. You have been conditioned to look for complex problems to solve, but the most profitable business models on earth are built around solving simple, repetitive inconveniences. Think about the nature of the physical world. It is in a constant state of decay and overgrowth. Dust settles continuously. Grass grows relentlessly. Paint chips, carpets stain, and garbage accumulates with a terrifying predictability. This is the absolute beauty of the sweat startup. Your customer's problem is never permanently solved. which means your revenue stream is never permanently severed. You are not hunting for a one-time sale. You are capturing a lifetime of recurring cash flow based on the unavoidable laws of entropy. Let us look closely at the landscape of these bulletproof businesses. Consider mobile car detailing. People are keeping their vehicles longer. They are fiercely protective of their investments, and yet they are more starved for time than at any point in human history. A busy professional will happily hand over $200 a month for the luxury of having their car meticulously cleaned in their own driveway while they take a Zoom call. Now multiply that by 50 clients in a single upscale neighborhood. Or consider commercial cleaning, the quiet titan of the boring business world. Every single night, when the white-collar workers go home to sleep, an army of invisible entrepreneurs unlocks those glass doors and begins turning over the machinery of commerce. A modest contract to clean a dental office might yield $1,000 a month. Secure 10 of those small contracts, requiring nothing more than a vacuum, some industrial disinfectant, and basic diligence, and you have instantly replaced a senior corporate salary. The genius of these models lies in their absolute simplicity and their immediate path to profitability. There is no months-long research and development phase. There is no waiting for a patent to clear. You can decide today to start a junk removal business, print 100 flyers, knock on doors, and generate actual, tangible revenue by tomorrow afternoon. The capital requirements are shockingly low. You do not need a massive business loan that will hang over your head for a decade. You need a functioning vehicle, a few $100s in specialized equipment, and a level of grit that your peers simply do not possess. But the real leverage comes from understanding the lifetime value of the customer. In a service business, the hardest part is acquiring the client the first time. Once you have crossed the threshold of their home or business, and you have demonstrated that you are the rare professional who actually delivers on their promises, you own that relationship forever. They will never bother looking for another landscaper, pool cleaner, or window washer again, because the mental friction of finding someone new is far greater than the cost of keeping you. You become a permanent, unquestioned line item in their monthly budget, creating an impenetrable moat of reliability around your brand. Building this impenetrable moat requires a temporary but brutal sacrifice of your physical energy, trading your own sweat today for the absolute guarantee of systemic leverage tomorrow. This is where the romantic illusion of entrepreneurship ends and the visceral, exhausting reality begins. Let me be perfectly clear. In the beginning, you will not be a CEO. You will be the chief operator, the janitor, the customer service representative, and the lead technician. Your hands will blister, your back will ache, and there will be moments, usually late at night when you are scrubbing a floor or repairing equipment, when you will deeply question your own sanity. You will look at your friends, enjoying their mindless weekends, drinking overpriced cocktails, and you will feel a profound sense of isolation. Do not run from this pain. This crucible of sweat equity is the necessary tuition you must pay to truly understand the granular mechanics of your own business. You are not just doing the labor, you are actively buying the data. By performing the tasks yourself in the early days, you learn exactly how long a job should take, what materials are wasted, and where the operational bottlenecks lie. You figure out the precise script that makes a customer smile, and you discover the exact threshold of pricing they are willing to accept. If you skip this phase, if you try to immediately hire people without understanding the ground reality of the work, you will be taken advantage of by your own employees and crushed by your own ignorance. But this phase of physical suffering is strictly temporary. The fatal mistake most service business owners make is that they get addicted to the hustle, trapping themselves in a high-paying job of their own creation rather than building an asset. You must transition from the technician who does the work to the architect who builds the machine. The moment you have standardized your processes, you must begin to aggressively replace yourself. You document every single step of the service, how the phone is answered, how the truck is loaded, how the invoice is sent, creating standard operating procedures that are so idiot-proof a teenager could follow them. Then, you hire. You look for people who do not want to be entrepreneurs, people who simply want a stable, respectful environment where they are paid fairly for their labor. You become a leader of a small fleet. Suddenly, you have 3 trucks running simultaneously across the city, generating revenue while you are sitting in a coffee shop looking at a dashboard. You are no longer trading your time for money. You are trading your systems for money. You have successfully decoupled your physical labor from your earning potential, transforming a gritty, sweaty hustle into a sophisticated, scalable corporate entity. You have engineered your own escape velocity, moving from the exhausted operator to the master of a self-sustaining machine. Stepping away from the daily operations to watch your self-sustaining machine breathe on its own is the exact moment you transition from survival to absolute sovereignty. This is the end game we have been driving towards since the very beginning of this conversation. Try to vividly imagine the morning you wake up, pour a cup of coffee, and look at your phone, only to realize that while you were sleeping, your crews were dispatched, your clients were serviced, and the invoices were automatically paid. The world is out there frantically trading the best hours of their youth for a corporate paycheck, constantly terrified of the next round of layoffs, while you have built a localized monopoly that is entirely immune to macroeconomic shocks. Wall Street can crash, artificial intelligence can wipe out millions of white-collar jobs, but the grass in your city will still need to be cut, and the commercial buildings will still need to be cleaned. This is what a real freedom fund buys you. It is not about buying a Lamborghini to impress strangers at traffic lights, and it is certainly not about flexing on social media. It is about the quiet, overwhelming peace of mind that comes from knowing you are fundamentally unfuckwithable. You own your time entirely. If you want to spend a Tuesday afternoon watching your child play baseball, you do it without asking a manager for permission. If you want to take a month off to travel, the business continues to fund your life because you built a system based on undeniable human needs, not fleeting digital trends. The choice before you right now is incredibly stark. You can close this video, go back to your perfectly curated digital feed, and continue pretending that one day a magical crypto investment or a viral drop-shipping store is going to save you. You can hold on to your pride, keep your hands perfectly clean, and remain a financial hostage to the system for the rest of your natural life. Or you can swallow your ego, look at the messy, inconvenient, physically demanding world around you, and recognize it for what it truly is, a landscape overflowing with quiet riches. The empire of the sweat startup is waiting for anyone willing to do the boring work that others despise. The blueprints are in your hands. The illusion is shattered. Stop consuming the lie, step into the dirt, and go build your empire. True financial freedom is rarely found in the glamorous, highly competitive arenas of corporate prestige or fleeting digital trends. Instead, it is quietly built in the trenches of everyday life through the dirty work dividend, the massive financial premium paid to those willing to tackle the mundane, physical, and unglamorous tasks that the masses overlook. By fundamentally detaching your fragile ego from your job title, you open yourself up to a world of highly profitable, bulletproof service businesses based on recurring inconveniences like cleaning, landscaping, and property maintenance. The blueprint is straightforward, but demands a temporary, brutal sacrifice. You must first embrace the crucible of sweat equity, acting as the ground-level operator to learn the exact granular mechanics of your business. However, the ultimate goal is never to trap yourself in a grueling job of your own creation. You must meticulously document your processes and transition from a daily laborer to an enterprise architect. By systemizing your workflows and delegating the daily operations, you transform a gritty hustle into a scalable corporate machine. This vital shift decouples your physical effort from your earning potential, creating an impenetrable moat of reliability and recurring cash flow. Ultimately, building a sweat startup grants you absolute sovereignty, a localized, untouchable monopoly immune to macroeconomic shocks and artificial intelligence, giving you the greatest luxury of all: complete, unapologetic control over your time and your life. The lesson: complexity and social prestige are the enemies of execution and wealth. Society conditions you to seek status and complex intellectual challenges, but sustainable wealth is generated by reliably solving simple, never-ending inconveniences. The application. Look around your immediate environment today and identify a recurring physical problem: dirty windows, overgrown yards, accumulating junk, or unwashed cars. Divorce your ego from the task and start a micro-business solving that exact problem. Do not overcomplicate it with massive loans or endless research. Print a few flyers, knock on doors, and focus entirely on radical reliability. Answer the phone immediately, show up exactly on time, and be completely professional. From day one, document every step of the work so you can eventually hire someone else to replace you, transitioning from the worker to the owner of a scalable system. What is one boring or unglamorous service in your local area right now that you think has massive potential for a scalable business? Please share your thoughts and drop your answers in the comments section below. It is a great way for everyone to exchange ideas, reference different perspectives, and discover new opportunities together. If you found value in this video, please hit that subscribe button. Your support is incredibly appreciated and gives us the motivation to keep creating deep, actionable content for you in the future.